Hello, good morning. This is Enrico from Conductive Music saying hello from Tenerife. We're here with our project funded by the Goethe Institute under the name iPortunus, which is a European Union mobility project. And we're here for a couple of weeks to work with 2 youth centers. And we thought we'd share with you a fantastic first project that we came up with, which is an interactive tie. This is the circuit playground from Adafruit, and this is going to be our chip. The next part you need is this conductive thread, some normal thread. I chose red because of the red tie. We've got a normal needle, there's nothing special here. A little bit of red felt to cover the battery pack, which is here. Scissors, of course, for all the rest. And then these are LED, so 5 volts DO and GND, which is our positive, GND is our negative, and DO is our digital signal. So these are addressable LEDs, which means that each of these lights can change color, brightness, and animation when we want it to do that. We prepared for this project a strip of 15 LEDs. You can cut them with simple scissors, and then we made 3 separate cables. We soldered them on ground, the black one, this brown green cable on the DIN. DIN means digital input, and that's where the data comes from. And finally the 5 volts on the red cable here. Here's the circuit playground. We decided yesterday to place it so that the USB points up and the battery pack points down, simply because then we can put the cable through and at the back. Make sure it's quite centered. You can keep the playground at the front because the LEDs are here, so you can actually use them as 10 very interesting lights on top of the other LEDs, which will happen here. When you lose your patience, ask for some professional help to thread your needle. So the needle here with the thread, and at the opposite end you just made the knot. Start from the bottom, and the reason for this is because the knot is then going to be hidden. So I'm through ground here. I'm gonna go through A7, basically 1 hole from the top, 1 hole from the bottom. When you get to ground, do not go over the board, just do 1 extra point on the outside, okay, so that the cable goes underneath, and then you can come out from the 3 volts on the other side. Okay, this is the last, so I'm gonna come in and out a couple of times to make sure it's steady. Okay, and at the back we want to make a knot. Now for the knot we want to go under the thread, pass it through, and then inside this loop that we've just created, pull, and we got the first knot. I usually do a treble knot just in case. You don't want to be halfway through your project and have these things come out. We want to position these so that they are a comfortable distance. Remember, the red one will have to connect to the 3 volts, which is up here. The green one, with any of the digital pins, that will be decided by the code. So it could be A3, A2, A5, A4, and then the black one onto the ground. So just make a cut here on the tie so that the cable can pass at the back. So once you've done the cut, gently pass the wires through. Be careful not to break the loops of thread that you've got at the top, of copper wiring that you got at the top. And more or less this is the result you want. So hide the cables as much as possible. We can peel off the adhesive, gently place it as straight as we can. So we've got the 5 volts, which is red for us, the digital in, which is green brown, and the ground, which is black. What we want to do is align this one with the 3.3 volts, and just stitch it through. I would say at least 6 times. This time make sure you don't use the normal thread, because the normal thread does not conduct electricity. You want to use the conductive thread, which is here. Now we're on 5. Oh, pardon. Number 5, and we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, knot the same way. Go with the needle under the thread, pass it through inside the loop, and there's your first one. The last thread, so we're going to connect the ground. In this case, we've got it black, and just make sure the cables don't touch each other. Same principle. By the way, there are multiple grounds around the board. They are all independent. They all work fine. You just choose the closest one for each project, I'm sure. Just sketch it out on paper if you're unsure. So now we want to create a little pocket to host this battery pack. We just got this little pocket of red felt, stitch it, and just put the battery pack inside so that the cable will thread through and then plug in at the very bottom. That's why we decided to put it here. So our stitching is gonna be going down this way, curve, skip a little bit so we can actually thread the cable through, and then come around the corners. Okay, something like this, like a horseshoe shape, but with a gap here. Remember not to stitch this at the top, otherwise there's no way for the battery to come in and out, or to change the batteries afterwards. So same thing as before, we opted for double thread this time, so that it's a bit more resistant. Okay, I'm gonna do the usual knot, under, through, pull. There we go, it's comfortably sitting inside the pocket we just made. And this one, there we go. You might not be able to see it yet, but there are some faint lights here and also on the LEDs. Okay, so here we are inside trying to check out the code for this tie and see how we can light up these LEDs. You're obviously going to need a USB cable, quite standard, the mini USB will do. Be careful when you connect it because the cables obviously are quite fragile, so if you pull they might come off and that will lead to a lot of pain, unfortunately. Obvious is start, and the reason for this is because we want to set up our strip. So every time we deal with outside lights, they are called strips. Every time we use the built-in lights instead, they're just simply called lights. So let's go and set it up. Click on light first and NeoPixels, and you've got your set strip here. If you read it carefully, it says create strip on A1. We actually connected A5, so I'm going to change that. And we don't have 30 pixels in this tutorial, we've got 15, so I'm going to change. See how easy it is to change it. Now, just because I want them to be of a fixed color, I'm just going to do a forever, and grab the forever, go from the search button at the top, is always the easiest. And now we want to set up a color. Remember, click on light first and then NeoPixels. And I'm just going to use set all NeoPixels. I'm not going to put it into red because the tie is already red and we're ready to set up the code. In the past, we would have to download it, we would get a file and then copy it into our thumb drive. So basically the hard drive inside the NeoPixel, the playground. Luckily, we can simply pair the device. So you click on the gear on the top right of your screen, go down to pair device, select it, even if it says pair, do not believe it, do it again, connect, and you're going to get a device paired. Be mindful, you might have to do it tons of times. This is it. I just click on download and here's my blue tie. It's up and running. Let's see what we can do for an animation. It's very, very nice. I'm going to grab another block, get rid of the blue one. Maybe I'm going to make it a bit longer and pair it again, just in case. I always like to pair it every time, just to avoid some problems afterwards. And it's getting through now, it's just downloading. And see, I've now got the animation here at the bottom, and I've got the blue stuff at the top. Okay, and here's the final result with the tie. We've got the blue lights here, and we've also connected some yellow lights. And now with this amazing tie, which is ready for our project, we'd like to say huge thanks to the Amigos de Gillian Bank for hosting us in this wonderful place and taking us back and forth and connecting us to the center so we can actually reach out to the kids, and to the e-Portunus project, which is the EU mobility project funded by the Goethe Institute in Munich. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let us know in the comments below, and greetings from Tenerife. Bye.